Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. We have two patterns by Yarnspirations. The apple is exactly the identical, whether you have the apple place card holder, and I would actually more present that as an apple without the place card if it were me, or you have an apple wreath, and both of these apples are exactly the same. So today I'm going to show you how to make this apple, and in the title of this video is the one that we're going to be concentrating on for project wise. So today we have an apple place card holder, and this one's not completely done. This is my practice example. As you see, perfect round shape, and how you finish it off and make it indent in is how you can make it look like an apple, and of course you could just squeeze it and all that jazz in order to get the shape. So both of the apples are the same as far as the wreath and the place card holder. Very easy to make, and you can see it's a substantial size when you compare it to the size of my hand. So we're gonna work through our steps just like you see. The instructions are exactly identical on how to make the apple as it is in the wreath. And so all you just need to do is that you just need to follow along, and then you can present this. I think it's kind of a really cool gift that you could present to a teacher once finished, and it'd be really kind of neat. And if you want to think about Thanksgiving, you could present it as a place card holder too for a Thanksgiving meal as well. And of course fall is a great time of year, and why not celebrate it with some apples. So let's begin on working on the apple together. So let's begin working on the apple together. We're gonna start off in the base of the apple, and then we're gonna get bigger, and then we're gonna be following along in the instructions. You can see that there's no slip stitching when I did it here. I'm gonna teach you how to do that just in case you would like to do it that way so that you don't see any lines. I'm also gonna show you a technique of avoiding, usually when you decrease in these kind of stitches, you can see definite lines as you decrease. A friend of mine, Kevin and Karen, showed me how to do that as well in order to get it so that it looks perfectly even all the way around without any pesky lines of decreasing. So we're gonna begin today to do that. You're gonna need a E size 3.5 millimeter crochet hook and some Lily Sugar and Cream, and let's begin at the base. And just grab a spare piece of yarn because this is my stitch marker that I fed up as it went instead of having any kind of slip stitching, and I'll show you about that in a second. So get a spare piece of yarn while you're at it. So let's begin. I got my spare piece of yarn off to the side. Let's create a slip knot. This is classified as easy, and if you go step by step I can prove that too. So let's put that onto your hook and let's begin. So it says that we need to chain 2. So just wrap the hook and pull through. So 1 and 2, and into the very beginning one that you did, that I want you to put 6 single crochet. So just coming back into the second chain from the hook, which is the second one in, I want you to put 6 single crochets into that same one, and that forces it to go around a circle. Now when you go to start any project in the beginning, it kind of gets fussy to be able to hold, but once you get a little bit more material into your hand, it gets a lot easier. So if you're thinking about the wreath and you're kind of struggling right at this stage right now, don't let the stage fool you. Of course it's the hardest part in order to get started. So that was 4, and it's gonna be nice and tight. This is 5 and 6. So you have a choice. You can either follow the instructions and slip stitch it to the beginning one to form the circle, or you can just hold it here and grab your other spare piece of string and come right up underneath it. Okay, the stitch. Okay, there's the loop. Just come right up underneath and drag a portion of that string through, and that'll signify to you next time you come around that that's the end. And when we go to start the next round, what we're going to do, instead of slip stitching, we're just going to jump immediately to the next stitch available to you over here in order to continue it, and therefore you don't end up with any slip stitching marks. So let's begin. That was round number 1. Let's begin round number 2. So let's begin round number 2, and we're gonna show you the way I'm demonstrating here. So if you're not sure which one is the first stitch when you go to jump over, count back 6. So just come back underneath. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this is the 6th one here. So that's the first one that you want to start with. It's always just the beginning like this that you have to pay attention to that, and it's always gonna be nice and tight for you as well, so just to make your life harder. So you're gonna put 2 single crochets into that one, plus all of its friends all the way around. The other 5 are each gonna get 2 single crochets. Now again, because I'm starting it, it gets a little harder just to hold it, but once I get more material in my hand it will get faster. So you're gonna place in 2 single crochets into each stitch going all the way around, and when you get to the stitch marker you know that you've gone all the way around, and I want you to move up that stitch marker in order to keep an eye on where you're ending and starting around. So let's continue. I'm just going 2 single crochets into each. I'm getting more material into my hand in order to hold it. I think the years of crochet for me in the long term, just I like to holding on to bigger projects. Okay, so you're coming into each stitch all the way around, and right here was the last stitch that I went into. So the very last one I'm going to make that I just did is where I'm going to pull the stitch marker through, and that signifies to me of that is the end of that round. So I'm gonna have you do that each time. I'm not gonna point it out each and every time, so that's what I want you to do. And let's move up to round number 3. So round number 3, we're going to start just putting 1 single crochet. So just go into the next one and do 1 single crochet each and every time, each and every stitch around. So you're not doing any really increasing. You don't want to expand too early, and you don't want to have it getting tightened too quickly either. So it takes its time in getting bigger to form that perfect shape. And just if you're gonna do it, just kind of do it so that the front comes out towards you, and you're doing 1 single crochet in each all the way around until the stitch marker, and then move it up. So please do that, and then we'll move up to the next round together. So I'm back around, I moved up the stitch marker. So in round number 4, we're gonna do 1 single crochet in the next one, and then the repeat pattern then is then 2 into the next one. So put 2 single crochets into the next one. So the repeat pattern for this round number 4 is 1 single crochet in the next one, and then put 2 single crochets in the one after that. And you keep doing that all the way around. So there's 1 into the next one, and then 2 into the next one after that. Please do that same pattern going all the way around for round number 4, and move up your stitch marker. So I'm now ready for round number 5. So here's the repeat pattern. We're going to do 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then the next one after that has 2 single crochets into that stitch. So the repeat pattern for round number 5 is very simple. It's gonna be 2 single crochets in a row, and then the one after that is gonna have 2 into the same one. Please do that same patterning going all the way around for round number 5. So let's begin round number 6. Round number 6, and remember I've already just finished number 5, moved out my stitch marker. So round number 6 is that the first 3 will be single crochets, and then the one after that will be 2 into the same one. So the repeat pattern for round number 6 is 3 single crochets in a row, and then 2 into the one after that. Please do that all the way around. Move up that stitch marker for round number 6. So let's move on to round number 7. Round number 7 is 1 single crochet into each all the way around. So there's no thinking. 1 single crochet into each, and move up that stitch marker when you get to the beginning of the round once again. So let's begin round number 8. Round number 8, the first 4 in a row are single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the next one has 2. So then for round number 8, just remember 4 in a row, and then 2, 4 in a row, then 2. Please do that all the way around for round number 8. Okay, so let's move on to rounds number 9, 10, 11, and 12. So there's 4 rounds in a row exactly identical to each other, just 1 single crochet into each, and as you pass the stitch marker, just include that as a round. So do rounds number 9, 10, 11, and 12 now, and meet me at the end of that, and we'll continue along. So just 1 single crochet into each going all the way around. You're now at the halfway point of your apple. So rounds number 9 through 12 are done, and now we're gonna move on to round number 13, lucky 13. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start decreasing as we're now at the halfway point, and you're gonna think to yourself, it looks like a lemon at this point. That's because you gotta think about this being pushed in a bit in order to get the look of the apple. So if you're seeing it pointed out like that, don't worry about it, it will be fixed later, and it's just a matter of shaping. So now we're gonna start decreasing, and I'm gonna show you a trick in order to prevent you from seeing lines. And if you look at my other example, you can't see any lines of when I did a decrease. So I'm gonna show you how that's done, and this has been a technique shown to me by a friend. So we're gonna do the next 4 in a row will be 1 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the next 2 are gonna become together. So you technically could just go into the one stitch, pull through, and go into the next one and pull through, and then just pull together. But do you see how it looks a lot different than the other one? It'll form a line. So in order to get rid of that, what you can just do is that you can just go into the very first one, but go into the front loop only. So just going in to the front loop like so. Okay, and then what I want you to do is just rotate the hook a little bit and pick up the next front loop of the next one. Okay, and then pull through both of those. Okay, and then pull through 2. And what that does is it pulls the two together without forming a line. So we just advance to the next one. So 4 in a row. So I'll show you again. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is an amigurumi technique. So we're gonna go into the next one. So we're just gonna go to the front loop only. So we come up from the bottom and then rotate the hook and just go to the next one, front loop only, and grab that one. So it looks like you have 2 in a row, and then just pull through and then pull through 2, and you keep doing that. I'll show you again. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and this is the last time I'll show you this technique. So coming up, okay, rotate the hook and grab the next one. Sometimes it's a little tight, but you can get in there. So just coming up and then go into the next one. So then you got your 2 on your hook, pull through and then keep on going. So continue that same pattern going all the way around. So it's 4 in a row and then decrease with the 2 together. Please do that all the way around. So I've come all the way around, moved up my stitch marker. So round number 14, easy round, 1 single crochet into each, going all the way around. Please do that and I'll see you at the end of this round, and move up your stitch marker when you get that far too. We're gonna have your stuffing coming up really soon, but we're not quite ready for it yet. So just 1 single crochet in each all the way around. So let's begin round number 15. So the first 3 in a row will be 1 single crochet. So 1, 2 and 3, and then the next 2 are together. So just doing the same technique that I showed you before. I'm just gonna speed up because I've already shown you. So put the next 2 together and then 3 in a row. So 1, 2 and 3, and then the next 2 together. So please do that all the way around in the same pattern, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So that was the round number 15. Moving on to round number 16, it's just 1 single crochet into each, going all the way around. So 1 single crochet in each, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So round number 17. Round number 17 is the first 2 in a row, single crochet, and then the next 2 are together. So the same technique, put those 2 together and then 2 in a row, 1 and 2, and then put the next 2 together. And what I need you to do is grab your stuffing, because you're gonna lightly stuff this after you're done this round. So just 2 in a row and then 2 together. So before moving on, you're gonna have to lightly stuff. So just when it says lightly, you can never go backward. It's very hard to put stuffing in after you get it done. So make sure that you wanna get it nice and firm. So when you go to stuff it, you don't want it so that the stitches are like pulling apart and looking like it's bleeding of stuffing. So you're just gonna take your polyfill and just continue to fill it up on the inside, and you don't want it to impede in any of the stitch work that you want to do. So when you go to do it, you just want it to sit in behind, so that you're not stitching into the polyfill. It's hard to kind of get those stitches out of your, or the polyfill out of the stitches if you're gonna trap it underneath. So you kind of want it out of the way, but also firm enough so that you can do it. So you might have to use your fingers in order to push down. So this is just not full enough. Okay, see how it's kind of like not bouncing back. So you want to continue to add more until you're satisfied with that. So here is the example of the other one that I did. So you can see it bounces right back, and you keep on adding more stuffing to it. So add your stuffing to it and then meet me back here. We'll continue along. We're on round number 17 now, and 18 and 19 is just really simple. Just 1 single crochet into each. And actually, you know what I'll do for you is that you do that after you stuff it. So just put 1 single crochet into each for rounds number 18 and 19, and then maybe back here, and then we'll continue along together. Okay, so get your stuffing and do rounds number 18 and 19. I'll see you at the end of that. So rounds number 18 and 19 are done. They were just 1 single crochet in each, and then what I want to do is round number 20, we're going to do single crochet in the first one and then 2 in the next. So just the first one is just 1 by itself, and then the next one is 2 together. Okay, so 1 into the next and 2 together. And after this round, I need you to stuff the remaining of your apple before continuing along onto round number 21. So I want you to kind of finish that off, and then I'll see you back here in just a moment. So 1 into the 1 and then the next 2 together. Please do that all the way around. So I'm just stuffing this apple before doing round number 21. Now it's easier to pull stuffing out of an apple or any kind of amigurumi after it's been stuffed than it is trying to add more to it. I've done that before where I've done something and as soon as that project really relaxes it's really kind of sloppy looking. So if you ever had to remove stuffing out, all you just have to do is just reach in through any stitch work and preferably somewhere that you don't care about, and then you can just pull it out with your needle or with your crochet hook. So it's just an easier way of doing it, but you want to be somewhat firm but you don't want to be crazy to the point where you see any of the stuffing coming out here. And with the blasting of my studio lights you don't see any of that stuffing actually popping out. So now we're at the finishing spot, so we're now gonna do round number 21. Round 21 is the final round, and all I'm just going to do then is gonna do single crochet 2 together in each going all the way around. So just putting the next 2 together, so using that technique, and you keep doing that all the way around for every one of them. So that's together, do the next 2 together, just like that. And so what you're gonna do is once you get all the way back around, you're going to take your darning needle and you're just gonna go through the remaining of the stitches and just pull those all together, kind of like a clothesline, and tie it all together as a pretty bow. Not as a bow, but you know what I'm saying, just kind of getting it nice and even looking. And then once you do that is you do want to make sure you leave an extra long tail when you go to do that, because then you're going to do a little bit of shaping by pulling that yarn through the top and the bottom. So now that I've gone all the way around, I'm going to leave this extra long strand here and I want to pull that loop through, and I want to remove my stitch markers out just like you see. So it kind of really does look like a lemon at this point. So you can see that there's a tiny opening here, and that's because we left it open as per the instructions. And using a sharp darning needle, dull with cotton, because cotton is so strong it's harder to get through. So you're just gonna go through the remaining of the loops and kind of bring it all together. And I'm gonna go diagonally across and then diagonally the other way. So how you get that shape is right now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the darning needle through the top and go right down and have it poke out. So just kind of squash it down and poke out the very bottom of it and pull it through. So you can see when you did that, okay, so when you do that, when you pull down, it's gonna leave an indentation. So then coming back up through the bottom and through the top again, and then back down through the bottom. So you get that shape, that classic shape of an apple. So you want to do it so that it kind of does pull it down a little bit. Okay, just shape it. And you'll notice that the apples in the particular wreath and etc. had different shapes, and it's all in this particular process. So once you're satisfied with that, then all you're just gonna do is take your darning needle and just go through a few of the fibers. So we'll go through 1 and then go through a different set of fibers for 2 and go through a different set for 3. So you'll see that some polyfill kind of comes out with it. You want to clean that up afterward as well. So now you can trim that down, and we got some stuff to be able to finish through. So you just grab the fibers that kind of popped out, but there is the classic shape of your apple. So we still have a stem to add, and we also have a particular leaf. Now what you can just do is if you push down the other side, see? So it's all depending on which side you push down, because you've went back and forth, is that you can get a really great shape if you want to. So play with it, and this is what it looks like. But we're now going to move on to doing the leaf next, which is really quite easy. So we know there's a leaf on this, and the leaf is just really quick and easy, and we're just gonna create a slip knot to begin. And we're just gonna chain a total of 5 using the same size hook, and you just make the number of leaves that you need for the many apples that you did. If you want to do 2 leaves for an apple, that's up to you. So you just have a slip knot, so you're gonna chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now what we have to do is that we're going to then come down this chain and then back around the other side and come back up the other side of this chain. So we're gonna go kind of in a complete revolution. So second chain from the hook, so just turn it over and get the back loop and count back the second one, and you're going to single crochet, and you're gonna half double crochet in the next chain. So coming into the next one, just the same back loop of the next chain, just half double crochet, and then we're gonna double crochet then in the next one, just like that. Oh, sorry, that wasn't a double crochet, so this is a double crochet. And now what we're going to do is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then we're gonna slip stitch second chain from the hook. So what we just have to do is that we're gonna do 2 half double crochets. So this is the very last one. So 1 and 2, and then it says to chain 2, and it says slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. So just count back 1 and 2 and slip stitch. Okay, so this is kind of creating a peak. And then what we're gonna go down is that we seem kind of just turning this around in a circle. So now we're gonna go down the other side of it, and on what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do 1 double crochet in the next one. So right where this double crochet already was is that you're just coming onto the bottom side of it, just double crochet, just like that. And then what we have to do is that 1 half double crochet in the next one, just like that. And then what we're going to do is that 1 single crochet in the last one, and we're going to join this with the slip stitch to the beginning, right where you are. Okay, so here is your leaf. So what you want to do at this point is leave an extra long tail, because you're going to use that for sewing, and trim that out and pull that through the loop. Okay, now this last one, or the very starting strand, what I would recommend is getting your darning needle and just gliding it underneath the stitch work in order to hide it, but don't get rid of that other strand that you just finished with. So you're just using the one and using the back side of the leaf, just dragging it through your work. How many times? If you said the answer is 3, you're right. Okay, so 3 is the magic number for really hiding in your loose ends at the end. And once you have it back and forth 3 times, you can safely cut that right down to the leaf. You'll never see it. So this is what we have. We have our leaf, and then what we're going to do is apply it to the top when we're ready. So we have one more thing to do. We still have the stem to make, and we're just gonna use a darker brown for this one. So it says warm brown in the instructions. So creating a slip knot, and you're going to chain a total of 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what we're going to do then is second chain from the hook, you're gonna single crochet. So just second chain from the hook, just single crochet, and then what you're gonna do is just keep on moving. So 1 single crochet in the next chain, just like that, and then it says to slip stitch ourselves into each of the next 4 chains. So what this does is it gives the top of the apple a bigger look at the top of the stem than it does in the bottom of the stem. So you just you're just slip stitching the final 4 that you have. And once you get that done, you're just gonna, that's it. So the string that I'm using right now is going to be the string that sews it to the top of the apple. So leave it a little bit extra long for yourself, and get rid of the extra string in order to do that, the other one that you have here, and then we're gonna use that to sew, and I'll be right back. I dropped my scissors. I'll be right back. So with your little stem done and your little leaf, we're ready to go for the attaching process. So let's put on the stem first, and using the extra long strand that you finished with is that you're going to apply it to the top of your apple. So right where the indentation is, at this point you can just pop it out if you want to, just force it out. You can shape it later, and you're just gonna go into some fibers. Don't go too crazy about it, and just kind of pull it in. And then what you want to do is go through the project. So I mean, like, go through the stem itself, and then back down through the project of the apple. And you want to go a few times with that, depending on what your application is too, of course, on how sturdy you need to make that in order to get it to work. So you want to kind of get it so that it's not leaning down on its side. So the way that you sew it and the way that you can force it is all just a technique idea, if you would like to go for that concept. So once you think you're satisfied with that, then all you can just do is then just go back and forth in and out of the stem a total of 3 times. So 1, different section, 2, I don't want to go into that red so I don't have it bleed this color, so then 3. So then I could just trim that out. Then I want to add my leaf. So the leaf is usually right at the, just an ornamental reasons, it's right at the base. So we're just gonna apply the darning needle to it and then just go into the base section. You can go into a little bit of the side of the stem if you want to as well. Your goal is just to make it look like it belongs together. Now cotton is a very strong yarn. Okay, so there we go. And I want to sew it so it's kind of staying together with the stem without actually having it bleed into the stem. Mother Nature is really quite awesome and how things are meant to belong together. So you don't have to go too crazy with securing that, but again, in and out of the leaf 3 times in order to get it to stick. So that was 1, this is 2, and 3 coming up. And then of course you can shape it and cut that right down into the project. And then what you can just do, push it down and reshape it, so make the top sink down just a little bit and reshape, and there is your cute little apple. So you got the indentation at the bottom, you have the indentation at the top, you got a leaf attached to your stem, and then you're good to go. So you can take your apples and really do a great job with this, whether you're doing a wreath or just presenting it to a teacher that you really care about, or even making it as a placeholder. So this is how you do your apple, and until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of yarnspirations.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.